The wind howled across the endless white desert. The storm had been raging for 2 days, turning the alien world into a prison of ice and silence. Snowflakes cut like knives and the ground was buried under layers of frozen dust. A lone human moved slowly through the storm. His name was not important yet. What mattered was his survival. He carried a heavy pack on his back, and his helmet light cut through the swirling snow. Every step felt heavier than the last, but he kept moving. He had one rule: always keep walking, never stop in the cold. Stopping meant death. The planet was not meant for human life. It was cruel, bitter, and endless. But he was here exploring, searching for signals. His scanner beeped softly at his side. Most of the time, it picked up nothing but static. Yet this time, the sound was different. Beep, beep, beep. The signal was faint, almost lost in the storm. The man paused. His heart beat faster. Life out here? That was impossible. The ice wasteland was empty. No one could live here. Still, the scanner did not lie. Something was alive. Something was waiting. He changed direction, walking toward the source. The storm fought against him, pushing him back, but he leaned forward and pressed on. The beeps grew louder, faster. His breath filled his helmet, fogging his visor. His boots crunched deep into the snow. Then he saw it. At first, it looked like nothing more than a lump of frozen ice half buried in the ground. But as he brushed away the snow, he saw something that froze his blood. A hand. It was not human. The fingers were longer, slender, with faint glowing veins under the skin. The color was pale blue, almost like crystal. He dropped to his knees, digging frantically through the snow with his gloves. More of the body appeared, then another shape beside it. 2 of them. 2 alien figures lay side by side, nearly swallowed by the ice. Their faces were strange yet beautiful. Smooth skin shining faintly as if light lived inside them. Their lips were blue, their eyes closed. He touched one gently. The skin was cold, almost stone. Still alive? He whispered, though no one could hear him. He pulled out his scanner, pointing it at the nearest one. A weak pulse flickered on the screen. The life signs were fragile, like a candle about to die. He checked the second figure, also alive, but weaker. His heart pounded. He looked around. The storm was growing worse. He had 2 choices: leave them here to die or take the risk of saving them. Carrying both would slow him down. The shelter was far away. If he took them, he might die too. He clenched his jaw. He was human. He could not walk away. With all his strength, he pulled the first figure onto his shoulder. The weight was lighter than he expected, almost hollow. Then he lifted the second one, dragging her by his arm. He stumbled forward, snow lashing against his helmet. His legs screamed in pain, but he refused to stop. The storm grew violent, the wind screaming like a monster. Ice slapped against his visor, blinding him. He followed the tracker on his wrist, step after painful step. His lungs burned, his back ached, but he pushed forward. Behind him, the 2 sisters were silent, hanging between life and death. Finally, after what felt like hours, a small, dark shape appeared in the white storm. His shelter, a tiny metal dome half buried in the snow. He dragged himself to the door, almost collapsing. With a desperate push of his glove, he opened it. Warm light spilled out. He fell inside with the 2 alien bodies, slamming the door shut behind him. The wind outside roared, but in here it was quiet. He pulled off his helmet, gasping for air. Sweat dripped from his forehead, mixing with the frost on his suit. He laid the 2 aliens on the floor. Their skin glowed faintly under the warm light. He grabbed a heating unit, placing it close to them. Slowly, warmth filled the room. The human knelt beside them, studying their faces. They looked so alike, sisters perhaps. Their breathing was shallow, almost gone. He pressed his ear close. A faint sound. Yes, they were still alive. Stay with me, he muttered. Don't die now. Minutes passed like hours. The heater hummed, filling the shelter with steady warmth. The alien's skin changed from pale blue to a softer shade, the glow under their veins growing brighter. One of them twitched. Her lips moved slightly, but no sound came out. The human leaned closer. Her eyes fluttered open. They glowed with an otherworldly light, bright and cold. She saw him and froze, terror flashing across her face. Her lips trembled. With the little strength she had, she whispered one word in her language. The translator on his wrist clicked. The word appeared in glowing letters, human. Her eyes rolled back and she fainted again. The man stared at her, his chest heavy. The storm outside still roared, but a greater storm had just begun inside his shelter. 2 alien sisters. both alive, both in his hands. And now, nothing would ever be the same. The shelter hummed softly, a fragile bubble of warmth in the frozen wasteland. Outside, the storm screamed like a living thing, battering the walls with endless fury. Inside, the human knelt between two alien sisters, their glowing skin faintly pulsing under the dim light. He checked their vitals again on his scanner. Weak but holding, it was like watching two candles flicker in a cold night, one strong gust away from dying. He could keep them warm, but their bodies needed more than heat. They needed oxygen, fluids, and time. The man unsealed a small medical kit. He attached a mask to the first sister's mouth, pumping in oxygen. Her chest rose slowly, painfully, like someone trying to breathe after drowning. He repeated the process with the second sister. Her glow was fainter, almost gone, and his jaw tightened. "I pulled you out of the ice," he muttered. "Now fight. Don't give up on me." Minutes passed. The heater worked harder, the frost on the walls melting into beads of water. The sisters lay still, yet their skin color shifted little by little, from a deathly pale to something warmer. He poured melted water between their lips carefully, watching as it slid down their throats. They stirred weakly but did not open their eyes. Then a sound broke the silence. "Why?" The human froze. The voice was soft, almost broken, but clear enough. He turned. The first sister's eyes were half open, glowing faintly like dying embers. She looked straight at him, confusion and fear shining in her gaze. Her lips moved again, her language sharp and unfamiliar. His wrist translator clicked and beeped, processing. The words came through in jagged English. "Why? Help, enemy? Enemy?" The human frowned. His voice was calm but firm. "You're not my enemy. You were dying out there. I couldn't leave you." The sister blinked as if she couldn't believe what she heard. Her breathing quickened, then slowed again, as weakness dragged her back into unconsciousness. The second sister stirred soon after. Her eyes opened wider, brighter than her siblings. She gasped, clutching her chest, her voice hoarse but stronger. She sat up with sudden panic, and when she saw the human, her body tensed. She spoke rapidly in her tongue, almost shouting. The translator struggled, spitting out broken phrases. "Human. Danger. Trap. Why here?" He raised both hands slowly, palms open. "Calm down. You're safe here. I don't know who you think I am, but I'm not your enemy." The alien sister's glowing eyes narrowed. She scanned the room quickly, noticing the heater, the medical kit, the oxygen masks. Slowly, her breathing eased. She glanced at her sister lying weakly beside her, then back at the man. Her lips trembled. "You saved us?" The translator delivered the words with hesitation, but the meaning was clear. "Yes," he said firmly. "Both of you would be dead if I hadn't found you." For a long moment, silence hung heavy between them. The storm outside was the only sound. Finally, the second sister lowered her shoulders. She reached out, touching her weak sibling's face, whispering something soft in her own language. The glow in her eyes dimmed, no longer burning with fear, but with something stranger, something like doubt. The human leaned back, exhausted. His body ached from the rescue. His mind raced with questions. Who were they? Why did they call humans enemies? What were they doing frozen in the middle of nowhere? As if reading his thoughts, the second sister looked at him again. Her glowing eyes locked with his. She spoke slowly this time, each word careful. "We should not be alive. You broke the law." The translator hummed, turning the alien words into simple English. His heart skipped a beat. "The law?" Her lips tightened. "Yes, I'm saving us. Means bond. Human belongs to us now." He blinked in shock. He almost laughed, but her face was deadly serious. The storm outside raged, but inside the shelter a different storm was beginning. He stood up, shaking his head. "I didn't save you for a reward. I didn't save you for this. I saved you because you needed help." The second sister tilted her head, studying him like a puzzle. "Strange human. Others would let us die. Why you not?" He paused, searching for words. Finally he said, "Because life matters. Yours, mine, anyone's, that's reason enough." For the first time, her lips curved faintly. Not quite a smile, but close. She touched her chest, her glow pulsing faintly. Then she whispered something to her sister, who stirred awake again. Together they looked at him, their eyes glowing brighter now. The translator beeped one last time, showing the words clearly. "Then you are ours." The human stared at them, stunned. He had only wanted to survive this cursed planet. Instead, he had stepped into something far more dangerous, an alien law he did not understand. But before he could answer, another sound cut through the storm. Beep, beep, beep. Not from his scanner this time. From outside, he froze. That was no life signal. That was a search beacon. Someone or something was out there, moving closer. The sisters' faces went pale. They exchanged a look filled with fear. The stronger one whispered quickly to her sibling, then turned to the human. Her glowing eyes widened with urgency. They come for us. If they find, we die, and you, with us. The shelter suddenly felt smaller, the warmth fragile against the growing shadow outside. The human's chest tightened. He had saved them once. Could he do it again? The storm was no longer his greatest enemy. Something far worse was hunting them now. The air inside the shelter had changed, not the temperature. The heater still hummed steadily, pushing back the cold. But something else was different. He could feel it, like the weight of invisible eyes watching him. Like the silence before something big breaks, the human paced slowly. Outside, the storm still screamed. But now he wasn't alone in his fear. The alien sisters sat close to each other, covered in thermal blankets. Their glowing skin was brighter than before, their eyes more alert. They spoke quietly in their language, fast, sharp, secret words that the translator couldn't keep up with. He watched them, arms crossed. His mind was full of questions. He had saved them, kept them alive, given up his own safety. And now someone was coming for them. Someone dangerous. Finally, he broke the silence. Who are you really? The sisters looked at him. It was the stronger one, the one who had first spoken clearly. Who answered? You saved us, she said slowly, without knowing who we are. Still, he replied, I deserve to know. The two aliens shared a look. Then, as if agreeing silently, the younger one spoke for the first time. Her voice was soft, her English clumsy, but her eyes, they held depth like galaxies behind glass. We are daughters, she said, of high blood. Royal, hunted by our own, the human stared. Royalty on a frozen planet? Running from their own kind? Why are they hunting you? He asked. The stronger sister's jaw tightened. Because we refused. Tradition. Refused the war. War? She nodded. Our people live by conquest, strength, no mercy. But we chose peace. That is forbidden. His breath caught. Now it made sense. The fear in their eyes, the urgency in their voices. They were not just fugitives. They were traitors to their kind because they chose something better. But why did you come here? He asked. This planet is a death trap. They hesitated. The younger one finally whispered, it was safe, until our signal was found, that beep from earlier. The search beacon. Someone, or something, was closing in. He turned away, running a hand through his hair. This was too much. He had expected ice, danger, maybe loneliness, not royal alien sisters on the run from an entire empire. Then, softly, the older sister spoke again. You saved us. You risked yourself. In our culture, that is no small thing, he turned. I told you already, I helped because I had to. I'm not looking for reward or whatever this bond thing is. Both sisters stood now, slowly, still weak but graceful. Their movements were like flowing water. They approached him, and for a moment he felt like prey. But then, they did something unexpected. They knelt. Both of them, heads bowed. Hands flat against the floor, their glowing skin flickered gently like a soft flame. He froze. What are you doing? The older sister looked up, her eyes softer than before. This is gratitude. By old law. When two lives are saved, both offer themselves to the Savior. He took a step back. No, get up. I don't want this. I didn't ask for this. You may not ask, said the younger sister, but law still holds. His heart pounded. He didn't understand their world, their rules. But something told him this wasn't just cultural. It was sacred to them. He looked at them, glowing, kneeling, faces calm, and for the first time, he didn't feel like the hero. He felt like he'd just crossed a line he couldn't see. Beep, beep, beep. The sound again. Closer. The sisters stood quickly, their glow dimming. They are here, the older one said, voice sharp now. We must hide or fight. The human grabbed his scanner. Multiple signals, fast-moving, not life, machines. Drones, he muttered. Patrol units? She nodded. They won't ask. They kill. He moved fast. He had weapons, old pulse rifles and EMP charges. But this wasn't a battle he had prepared for. Still, he wasn't going to let them be taken. He looked at them. They looked at him, three strangers, no trust, no promises, but a strange, fragile bond had formed in the fire of survival. "Help me block the door," he said, "and if they break in, we fight together." The sisters didn't hesitate. Together they stacked crates, powered down lights, and moved silently around the shelter. When they were done, they sat near the entrance, hidden behind supply boxes. The storm outside covered all sound. Only the beeping of the scanner and the whisper of their breath filled the air. The younger sister leaned close. "You do not understand us," she said quietly. "But you will. We understand you already." He looked at her. "You do?" She nodded. "Kindness, mercy, pain, you are full of all three. That's why we chose you." He opened his mouth to speak, but stopped. Outside, shadows moved through the snow, and the real fight was about to begin. The storm outside was no longer the loudest thing. Inside the shelter, the silence was sharper, thicker, like air before a lightning strike. The human sat with his back against the wall, his pulse rifle resting across his lap. Across from him, the two alien sisters sat close together, their glowing eyes never leaving him. Their faces calm but unreadable, like the calm before something irreversible. The scanner blinked quietly. The search drones had passed, for now, but the signals were still nearby, watching, waiting. He broke the silence first. "They're not gone. Just circling," the older sister nodded. "They are patient hunters. Like frost. Slow but deadly." He stared at the floor. His body was tired, but his mind wouldn't rest. These two strangers had crashed into his life like a falling star. Beautiful, dangerous, and now attached. He glanced at them. "I think it's time we talk properly." The younger sister tilted her head. "We have spoken." "No," he said firmly. "You've told me pieces. I need the whole truth now." The older sister stood up. She walked slowly to the middle of the room. Her glow flickered gently. "Then listen carefully, human. Our people are old. Our traditions are older. Long before war, we followed the law of life debt." She paused. Her voice became low, like a story told around fire. "If one being saves another's life, the debt is not forgotten. It is sacred. It is binding. The saved must honor the savior. Give their loyalty, their bond, even their future." The human frowned. "You mean like an oath?" The younger sister spoke now. "Not just an oath. A union." His face went pale. "You're saying, I saved both of you, so now, what, you belong to me?" The older sister shook her head slowly. "No, we belong with you. That is the difference." He stood up, confused, angry. "This doesn't make sense. I didn't ask for this. I didn't even know who you were." "Intent does not matter," the younger one said quietly. "Only action." He looked between them. Two glowing beings from a far-off world. He had never felt more human and more out of place. "This isn't how we do things," he said. "Where I'm from, people choose who they love. They aren't forced into it because of some ancient rule." The sisters looked at each other. Then the older one stepped closer. Her voice softened. "And did you choose to save us?" He opened his mouth, but said nothing. No, he hadn't chosen it. He had acted without thinking. Pure instinct. Heart before logic. The sister nodded as if reading his silence. "You are more like us than you think." They stood in front of him now, tall, glowing, alien, but not cold. Not hostile. Something in their eyes had changed. "We are not asking you to be our husband in the way your kind knows," said the younger one. "We ask only this: do not turn away. Do not break the bond that saved us." He stared at them. His breath was slow, heavy. The word husband echoed in his mind like thunder. "I don't even know your names," he said quietly. The older sister placed her hand over her heart. "I am Zira," the younger followed. "I am Lyra." Zira's voice was steady now. "You may call us what you wish. But know this, if we live together. If we fight beside you. If we die as one." He looked at their faces. Zira, strong, commanding. Lyra, soft-spoken, curious. Both alien. Both bonded to him by something older than war or science. His voice cracked. "What happens if I say no?" Lyra's glow dimmed. "You break the sacred law. We return to the ice, alone, unclaimed. And the drones?" Zyra's eyes hardened. "They find us, kill us. And you for aiding us, he closed his eyes. This wasn't a rescue anymore. It was a choice between staying human or becoming something more. Something not entirely his own, he looked up. Then I choose this. Not because of your law, not because of your words, but because I can't let you die. Not again. Both sisters bowed their heads slowly. Then they touched their foreheads together in a silent ritual. Zira spoke softly. Then it is done. Just then the scanner beeped again. This time faster, stronger. Zira's voice dropped. They've locked on. The moment was gone, the bond was formed, and war had found them again. The scanner blinked red. The drones were coming, fast, precise, merciless. Inside the shelter, the warmth felt like a lie. The human stood up, grabbing his pulse rifle. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. One look at the alien sisters was enough. They had already sensed it. Zira's glow darkened to a deep blue. Her face was sharp, focused. Lyra's hands trembled, but her eyes were alert. They found us, Zira said. How many? The human asked. Lyra moved to the scanner, her glowing fingers tapping across the controls. 5, maybe more. Machines, no heat, fast armed. He checked his rifle. Charged, but not made for long battles. We can't outrun them in this storm. And this shelter won't hold. Zira stepped forward. Then we fight. The human looked at her. With what? You're barely recovered. She met his eyes, and something in her gaze flickered. Something deep, something powerful. You haven't seen what we can do. Outside, the sound started, a low hum, mechanical, cold, growing louder. The human took position near the door, crouched low. The sisters moved behind him, silent and ready. He felt their energy, not just fear, but something strange. Strong, like a storm waiting to break. A red light cut through the storm outside. Then another. The first drone appeared. Black metal, sleek wings, red eyes glowing like fire. It hovered near the shelter door, scanning. The human aimed. Ready? Zira nodded. Let it come. The door slammed open, the drone floated in fast and deadly. It charged its blaster, but too late, boom. The human fired. A burst of energy hit the drone dead center. Sparks exploded. The machine jerked backward, metal hissing, then collapsed in a heap, one down. But more shadows moved outside. More red lights, they're swarming, Lyra whispered. Zira stepped past the human. Now, watch, she raised her hand. Her veins glowed bright, symbols lit up on her skin, ancient and sharp. Her body shimmered, not with heat but with pure force. Then, like lightning, she moved. She dashed out the door into the storm, her hands glowing like twin stars. The drones fired at once, beams of red light slicing through the snow. Zira spun like a dancer. A shield of blue energy burst from her arm, blocking the beams. She raised her hand again and released a wave of light. It hit the nearest drone like a hammer. The metal shell cracked and shattered, pieces flying into the snow. The human stared. What the hell? Lyra smiled faintly. She's a stormblood, our kind. Born with power. The human blinked. And you? Lyra looked away. Different. But not weak. Outside, the storm grew wild. Zira leapt into the air, landing on a drone mid-flight. With glowing hands, she tore through its circuits, ripping it apart. Sparks lit the sky like fireworks, but the drones fought back. One slipped past her and flew straight for the shelter. The human aimed, fired, missed. Too fast, Lyra stepped forward. Her eyes glowed white. She whispered a single word in her language. The drone froze. Mid-air, its lights dimmed. It shook, stuttered, and dropped like a dead bird. She fell to her knees, breathing hard. The human caught her. What did you do? Mind freeze, she said softly. Only once. Takes too much. He helped her to the wall. Rest, I'll cover you. Outside, Zira stood alone. The last drone circled above her, smarter than the others. It kept distance, waiting for her next move. She turned to look at the human through the snow. Their eyes met across the distance. He saw her nod. Not asking for help. Just telling him, we're still alive. He stepped outside, snow hitting his face. Zira looked surprised. You shouldn't. Don't care, he said. I'm not watching from behind a wall. The drone locked on them both. It charged its main cannon, brighter than anything before. Zira moved to shield him, but the human aimed first. Boom. One perfect shot. The drone exploded mid-air, raining fire across the snow. Silence. Only the wind remained. The human lowered his rifle, breathing hard. Zira walked to him. Her glowing hand rested on his shoulder. "You are not one of us," she said quietly. "But maybe something better." Lyra joined them, weak but smiling. "We are still alive. Because of each other." The storm around them raged on. But for a moment the fight was over and something had changed. Not just survival. Not just alliance, but trust. Real, dangerous trust. And in a galaxy where enemies hunted in silence. That was the rarest power of all. The snow had stopped. But silence didn't mean peace. The last drone's wreckage sizzled in the snow, thin smoke rising like ghosts in the cold air. The human, Zira and Lyra stood together facing the white horizon. There were no more red lights. No more buzzing machines. But they all knew. This was not the end. Just a pause. The human sat on a crate just outside the shelter, rifle across his lap, staring into the distance. His breath fogged the air. Behind him, the sisters rested in the warm glow of the shelter, their energy low but stable. Zira stepped beside him. Her glowing eyes reflected the soft light of the twin moons above. "They'll send more," she said. He nodded. "That was just scouts. We're marked now. You, us, anyone who helps us." He rubbed his hands together. "Why me, Zira? Why do I have to carry this?" She tilted her head. "You didn't have to, but you did." He looked up at her. "Is that how your people work? One good act and now I'm in a war I never started?" Zira knelt in front of him. Her voice was soft, steady. "No, that's not why." She touched her chest. "You were not chosen by law. You were chosen by choice," he frowned. "Yours or mine?" "Both," she said. "But that doesn't mean you must stay." Inside the shelter, Lyra was awake, listening. She didn't speak, but her eyes were sad. The glow in her chest pulsed gently as if in rhythm with her thoughts. The human looked between them both. "I could leave now," he said quietly. "Wait for the next supply ship. Go home. Back to a life I understand," Zira nodded. "You could," he stared into the snow. "But if I leave, what happens to you?" Lyra answered from inside. "We run again. Until we're caught. Or until we stop running," Zira stood. "We've done it before. We'll do it again." He looked up. "And die trying?" Zira's face was unreadable. "We would rather die free than return to a throne of blood." The human stood slowly, heart heavy. "You're not soldiers. You're sisters. You want peace." Lyra stepped out into the cold, her step slow. "That is our crime." They stood in silence, in three figures surrounded by snow and silence. The moons above cast silver shadows, making the ice glow faintly around them. Then Zira spoke again. "There is one more thing you must know. Before you choose." The human turned to her. She took a slow breath. "If you stay, if you truly stand with us, you are no longer just a man. You become part of something old, something sacred. Our people will not see you as human anymore." He blinked. "What does that mean?" "It means," Lyra said softly, "you will have no home left. Not among them. Not among your own. You will be in between, ours, but not one of us." He was quiet for a long time, then he asked the only question that mattered. "Would I still be me?" Zira stepped forward, placing her glowing hand on his chest. "Yes, but stronger, wiser, not alone." He looked down at her hand, warm, real, alive. His mind screamed at him to walk away. Go home. Live a normal life. But his heart remembered the snow, the cold bodies buried beneath it, the eyes that had looked at him, not with fear but hope. They were hunted, not because they were monsters, but because they refused to be. He took a deep breath. "I don't belong here," he said. "But maybe I don't belong back there either." Lyra smiled gently. "Then you are like us." The wind picked up again, light, soft, almost welcoming. He looked at the sky, then at the sisters. "I'll stay," he said finally, "not because of law or bonds, but because this feels right." Zira didn't smile, but her eyes glowed brighter. "Then you are one of us now." The moment was interrupted by a low rumble. In the sky above, a dark shape moved across the stars. A warship, not a scout. Not a drone. A hunter. Lyra's glow flickered in fear. "They've sent the shadow fleet." The human grabbed his rifle. "We can't outrun that." Zira stepped forward. "Then we don't run." Lyra raised her hand, her eyes brighter than ever. "We awaken the old power. The human stared. What old power? Zyra looked at him. The bond. Behind them, the ice cracked slightly, but not from the ship, from something beneath, something ancient. The shelter shook slightly. Light pulsed in the snow, the ground remembered, and now it was answering. The bond was no longer just between three lives. It was awakening the planet itself, and war had truly begun. The ground trembled under their feet. It started as a whisper, a slow cracking sound beneath the snow. Then came the light, soft pulses rising through the ice like breath from a sleeping beast. The human stepped back, rifle raised. What is that? Zyra's eyes burned bright. Not what? Who? Lyra placed her hand against the snow-covered ground. It's the ancient bond site. It woke up because of you. Because of me? He asked, unsure whether to be honored or terrified. You made the choice, said Zyra. That choice triggered the seal. No outsider has ever done that, not even a royal. The snow split apart with a deep rumble, forming a ring of glowing blue symbols. Inside that circle, the ice melted, but not with heat. With energy. Pure and old. The sisters stepped inside it together, holding out their hands. The human hesitated. It won't hurt you, Lyra said gently. It will accept you, or reject you. What happens if it rejects me? Zyra didn't blink. Then we die. All three. He almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because everything had become so unreal. A few days ago, he was alone on a scouting mission. Now he was standing on sacred alien ground, with glowing sisters telling him that his next step could awaken a power tied to the stars themselves. He stepped into the circle. Light shot into the sky. He flinched, but didn't fall. His body felt weightless, while like he was floating between worlds. For a second he heard everything. The wind on the mountains, the pulse of the ice, the heartbeat of the planet itself. Then it stopped. The light faded, and the ground was still again. Zyra looked at him, stunned. It accepted you, Lyra touched his arm. You're part of us now. Fully. Suddenly, a deep mechanical voice echoed from the sky. Cold. Commanding. Surrender the fugitives. Final warning. Above them, the Shadow Fleet ship had lowered. Its massive belly opened wide, showing rows of drones, pulse cannons, and a black light that absorbed the stars around it. Zyra turned to the human. We fight now, not as strangers. As one, he nodded. Let's end this. From the glowing circle, a wave of energy pulsed outward. The snow around them melted into crystal-like dust. The human's rifle glowed, powered by the bond. Zyra and Lyra's bodies shimmered with new strength, ancient runes now written across their skin. The first wave of drones descended, sharp and fast. But this time, the trio didn't run. They met the machines with fire and light. Zyra struck like a bolt of lightning, her arms extending with raw force. Each hit shattered a drone midair. She flew now, not jumped. The sky bent around her. Lyra stood at the center of the circle, her hands raised. She closed her eyes, and suddenly, the drones paused. Frozen in place, trapped in a web of invisible thought. She breathed slowly, sweat on her brow, holding them back with everything she had. The human sprinted between them, targeting the ones she couldn't hold. His rifle no longer needed charging. Each blast came with perfect aim, powered by something he couldn't explain. For the first time, he wasn't fighting for them. He was fighting with them. Then the ship fired. A huge beam of black energy roared from above, targeting the bond site. Lyra screamed. Her energy cracked. The frozen drones dropped free. Zyra looked at the human. That beam will destroy everything, he nodded. Then we stop it. Together, the three ran to the center. The glowing circle flared up again. Symbols lifted into the air. The human grabbed Lyra's hand, Zyra's shoulder. Their bodies linked, and then, the impossible happened. A shield rose from the ground made of energy and memory, shaped by their bond. The beam hit it with thunder, but it didn't break. It bent, twisted, and finally shattered, not the shield, but the ship's cannon. The Shadow Fleet ship shook. Inside, alarms blared. The enemy ship turned, retreating into the clouds. Damaged, defeated. For now. Silence returned. The bond site faded into quiet blue embers. The snow gently began to fall again, soft and harmless. The human dropped to his knees, breathing hard. Is it over? Zira landed beside him. The battle? Yes, the war? Not yet, Lyra sat beside them. But now we're ready. Because we have you, he looked at them both. Their faces were tired, scarred, glowing with power. And trust, he smiled. Guess I'm stuck with you now. Zira raised an eyebrow. You saved us. You stood with us. You share our bond. In our people's eyes. That means one thing, he sighed. Don't say it. Lyra giggled softly. Husband, he groaned. Yep, you said it. They all laughed. For the first time in days, it was real laughter. And though the stars above still held danger, and the ice below still whispered of war, for this moment they had peace. A new bond had been formed, and the universe would never be the same.